The air was electric, the kind of tension that comes when three of the most powerful men in the world step into the same room. The cameras flashed, reporters murmured, and whispers filled the background as Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and Mark Zuckerberg stood side by side, posing for what would become one of the most talked about photos of the decade. Each man carried a different vision for the future, one shaped by business, politics, and technology. On the left, Mark Zuckerberg, the mastermind behind Facebook, wore a casual jacket, his face carrying a confident but calculated smile. He was the youngest among them, yet one of the most influential, having built a platform that shaped global conversations. Next to him, Donald Trump, standing tall in his signature navy suit and red tie, grinned widely, exuding the confidence of a man who had commanded both boardrooms and political stages. And on the right, Elon Musk, dressed in his signature black leather jacket, stood with the ease of a man who had revolutionized industries, from space travel to artificial intelligence. The world wanted to know what brought these three together. Reporters shouted questions, but none of them answered. This wasn't just a photo op. It was a moment in history, a meeting that could mean anything from a new technological alliance to a battle of ideologies. As the cameras continued flashing, the real conversation began behind closed doors. And what was discussed that day would change everything. Behind the heavy wooden doors of the private meeting room, the cameras were gone. The flashing lights had faded, leaving only three men and the weight of their influence. The air was thick with tension, not the kind that led to fights, but the kind that only happens when giants collide. Donald Trump leaned back in his chair, adjusting his red tie, his grin replaced by a measured, calculating look. Across from him, Elon Musk sat with his arms crossed, his leather jacket slightly unzipped, revealing a T-shirt with the word Musk printed across it. Next to him, Mark Zuckerberg, younger but no less powerful, tapped his fingers against the polished surface of the table, waiting for someone to speak first. For a moment, there was silence. Then Trump chuckled. "Well," he said, his voice carrying the same confidence that had taken him from real estate to the White House. "I gotta say, this is one hell of a meeting. Some people out there probably think we're about to start a new world order." Elon smirked. "A world order? No, but a conversation that'll shape the next decade." "Definitely." Zuckerberg nodded, finally speaking. His voice was controlled, precise, just like the algorithms that powered his empire. "We all control something that defines the modern world. I have information and communication. Elon has innovation and infrastructure. And you, Mr. President." He paused, choosing his words carefully. "You understand power." Trump's grin widened slightly. "That's one way to put it." He leaned forward. "But let's not waste time with flattery. You two didn't come here to talk about what we already know. So tell me, what's the real reason for this meeting?" Elon exhaled, his fingers tapping lightly on the table. "We have a problem. A big one. And whether we like it or not, all three of us are in the middle of it." Zuckerberg raised an eyebrow. "Which problem are we talking about? The economy? AI? The future of free speech?" Elon didn't blink. "All of it." Trump nodded slowly. "Go on." Musk leaned forward. "Technology is moving faster than politics, faster than regulation. AI, automation, decentralized platforms. They're rewriting the rules of society. And right now, governments don't know how to handle it. They either want to shut it down or control it. Both options are bad. We need a third way, one that ensures progress without letting bureaucrats destroy innovation." Zuckerberg narrowed his eyes. "And I suppose you think we're the ones to figure that out?" Elon gave a small shrug. "Who else?" Trump interlocked his fingers, nodding slightly. "He's not wrong. The way things are going, politicians are either too slow to act or too eager to control. And if there's one thing I know, it's that the people who actually build things should be the ones making the rules. Zuckerberg hesitated for a moment. He had spent years dealing with governments, walking the fine line between control and freedom, trying to navigate the ever-changing landscape of digital influence. Now he was sitting across from two of the most disruptive forces in modern history, and they were talking about rewriting the future. Finally, he spoke. All right, let's say we do this. Let's say we actually try to steer the conversation instead of reacting to it. What does that look like? Musk smirked. It means we don't wait for governments to tell us what's possible. It means we set the course for AI, for social media, for the way people interact with technology. It means we lead. Trump leaned back, nodding. That sounds a lot like what I've been saying for years. But tell me something, if we do this, who's actually in charge? Elon and Zuckerberg exchanged a glance. Neither of them answered right away, because that was the real question. The room was silent again. But this time, it wasn't because they were waiting. It was because they all understood what was really at stake. This wasn't just a meeting. It wasn't just about technology, politics, or business. It was about something bigger: power, control, and the future of the world itself. Donald Trump, ever the deal maker, leaned forward, resting his hands on the polished wooden table. His gaze shifted between Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg, reading them like he had read competitors in boardrooms and adversaries on the campaign trail. You both know the truth, he said, his voice steady, serious. Governments don't build the future. People like us do. But the second we start pushing too far, they'll try to stop us. Musk smirked slightly, his fingers still tapping lightly on the table. That's exactly why we need to move first. Zuckerberg, arms crossed, was deep in thought. He had spent years navigating the fine line between innovation and control, between pushing boundaries and playing by the rules. And now, he was sitting with two men who had built their legacies by ignoring the rules entirely. Finally, he spoke. We can't control everything, but we can make sure that the right ideas, our ideas, are the ones shaping the conversation. If we wait, someone else will do it for us. Trump grinned. Now you're thinking like a winner, but Elon shook his head. It's not just about winning. It's about making sure that innovation doesn't become the enemy of progress. He exhaled. We're at the edge of something huge. AI, space colonization, social engineering, everything is about to change. The question is, do we lead that change? Or do we let someone else write the rules? For the first time, no one spoke, because the answer was obvious. Zuckerberg nodded slowly. So, what's the first move? Musk glanced at Trump, then at Zuckerberg. We stop waiting for permission, Trump smirked, leaning back in his chair. Now, that's something I can get behind, and just like that, the future was no longer something to predict, it was something to create. But the real question was, who would control it in the end? What do you think? Should the future be shaped by innovators, or should governments have the final say? Let us know in the comments below. And if you want more powerful stories like this, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications.